We are proudly presenting you our research study entitled The Effectiveness of DepEd Televised Educational Program to the Learners During this 2020 Quarantine Period. COVID-19 pandemic had profound impact on the educational system. While governments and health officials are doing their best to slow down the outbreak, global education systems are collaborating to collectively respond and provide quality education for all during this difficult time. Schools in the country, both public and private, have also had to adjust to the new situation where face-to-face interaction and mass gatherings are prohibited. To strengthen the resiliency of the education system beyond the COVID-19 pandemic, the Department of Education implemented the DepEd TV as one of a long-term strategy for education. The intention of this study is to determine the effectiveness of the DepEd televised educational program to the learners during this 2020 quarantine period. Benefiting in this study are as follows. Education authorities. This study will be beneficial to the educational authorities who produce and plan the TV lessons through evaluation and revisions to meet the needs and different learning styles of the students. The output of this study is much more beneficial for the students. The improvement of the DepEd educational program can pave the way for producing better learning for the learners at home this time of the pandemic. The study will make the televised educational program more improved to make as a guide for the parents to teach their children at home effectively. Through this research, the televised educational program lessons will be more enhanced for the learners to understand more and lessen the burden of the teachers in the delivery of instructions. This study will also serve as a guide and tool that can be used for future researchers and additional information or references. This study specifically aimed to answer the following questions. Number 1. What are the factors that the DepEd televised educational program provides in order for the students to experience some meaningful learning? Number 2. What are the obstacles experienced by the learners? Number 3. What are the benefits that the learners gain from watching the television lessons of DepEd TV? Through these questions, we can determine the effectiveness of the DepEd televised educational program to the learners during this 2020 quarantine period. For the scope and limitation, this study focuses on the effectiveness of TV lessons of DepEd TV on IBC 13, Solar Learning, and other related television channels. This is also limited only on the selected public and private school students from elementary to senior high school that will serve as the respondents who are currently have blended learning and enrolled for the school year 2020 and 2021. In connection with our research, local literature identified that television is one of the alternative tools used for effective teaching to inform and educate the students. Educational television programs can provide learners more knowledge and greater insights into the world to help them to industrialize and be accountable students. While in foreign literature tackled the impact and limitation of television to the viewers, especially to the learners as their learning tool, that we also found out while conducting our research about the effectiveness of DepEd educational program to the learners in this kind of situation that we are facing. This study uses a descriptive research design that involves giving frequency, percentage, and weighted mean in answering the research question. This descriptive research is a quantitative research method that attempts to collect quantifiable information for a statistical analysis of the population sample. Therefore, this research design enabled the researcher to gather information from the respondents on the effectiveness of DepEd televised educational program as a tool for learning. The respondents of the study are learners from different public and private schools. The overall respondents were 30 students from elementary to senior high school who are currently enrolled for the school year 2020 and 2021. For the analysis and interpretation of the study, the gathered data were tabulated, tallied, and analyzed by the proponents using the following statistical treatment. Number 1. The frequency and percentage were used to categorize the respondents according to age and grade level on the first part of the questionnaire. Number 2. In order to determine the average responses, the researchers used weighted mean to analyze the data, the respondents' degree of agreement on the second part of the questionnaire. For the instrumentation, a questionnaire was used to gather data. The researchers administered the research instruments to the respondents and used a Google survey form to conduct the research on the respondents. It has two parts. The first part deals to gather personal information from the respondents, and the second part will be the questions regarding the study of the research and consisted of 15 items that determine the impact and effectiveness of televisions as an alternative tool for teaching and learning. The rating scale or Likert 5-point scale used in the survey questionnaire composed of strongly agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. Frequency and percentage distribution of the respondents' term of selected variables. The profile of the respondents from 0 to 12 years old with 12 respondents, 13 to 17 years old with 13 respondents, 18 and above with 5 respondents, with a total of 30 respondents. In grade level, elementary have 9 respondents, junior high school have 16 respondents, senior high school have 5 respondents with a total of 30 respondents. Interpretation of the survey questionnaire. Question number 1.3. Majority of the respondents agreed that the presentation, discussion, and activities given of the televised educational program are suitable for the learner's learning style. Question number 2.1. TV poor signals and channel availability in their area are the reasons why some of the respondents agreed that they experience inconvenience in watching the program. Question number 3.2. Half of the respondents agreed that the DepEd TV lessons helps them to answer their learning modules. The findings of the study were summarized according to the statement of the problems stated in Chapter 1. Number 1. When the factors that the DepEd televised educational program provides, majorities of the respondents with 44% agreed. However, with an overall weighted mean of only 2.52, it generated a response of disagree as a degree of agreement. Number 2. On the obstacles experienced by the learners, majorities of the respondents with 38% agreed. However, with an overall weighted mean of only 2.58, it generated a response of neutral as a degree of agreement. Number 3. On the benefits that the learners gain from watching the TV lessons of DepEd TV, majorities of the learners, or more than half of the respondents, with 48% agreed. However, with an overall weighted mean of only 2.43, it generated a response of disagree as a degree of agreement. The researchers drew a conclusion based on the findings. Majorities of the respondents agreed that the lessons are understandable, it suits different learning styles, the activities are easy to apply, and it is accurate and reliable. Therefore, most of the respondents have learned, reached, and acquired the purpose of the said televised learning modality. Number 2. Majorities of the respondents agreed that they experienced such obstacles in watching the program, but more than half of the respondents also were neutral in responding to said problems. Therefore, there are still disadvantages that the learners experienced. As long as there are places that were not provided with good quality of television signals, lack of proofreading of the given activities, still, there are students that will be experience the said obstacles. Number 3, and the benefits that the learners gained. The proponents concluded that even by just learning at home, the program helps and provided the learners the needed learning for the required competencies for the school year. For the recommendations, to future researchers, the researchers recommended to further study on the televised educational program for the future betterment on the televised teaching and learning modality. To the teachers, for the students' class advisors, the researchers recommended to encourage their students in watching the DepEd TV and make lessons and activity that coincide the lesson on the TV programs. To Education Authority, the researchers recommended to come up more with an idea on how the televised lessons would be pleasing for the learners and for them to be more motivated into watching it. To the students, the televised educational program was one of the new normal in teaching and learning modality. The researcher recommended that to always watch the televised educational program, especially for those students who have a modular learning for this school year. To the parents, the researchers recommended to always guide and support the learners in their studies, encourage the students to watch educational programs that can help and enhance their learning. Bibliography, 100.org, Quality Education for All During COVID-19, deped.gov.ph, DepEd secures NTC support for TV, radio-based education, DepEd TV, www.wikipedia.org. Cordelia Maria Melanie, 2012, Can Credibility of Matanglawin and AHA ETV Program Influence High School Senior Attitudes Towards Science? ResearchGate 2012, The Educational Impact on Television, Understanding Television's Potential and Limitations.